Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Mindshifters Radio with your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife Jeanie. Michael and Jeanie share with you the wisdom of the ancient Aramaic internal process of forgiveness. They offer tools and support 5 days a week. They will support you in building a solid foundation within yourself to live in pure love. In Aramaic, Rachma. Michael is the author of So Why Is This Happening to Me Again? For more information on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. And now your co-host, the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael and Jeanie Ryce.
To the brightness within you and the truth that is rooted within me.
Hi, and welcome to Mindshifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce. Our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Press 1, that puts you in queue to talk to Michael. We'd love to hear your comments and your questions. Welcome to the chat room. Welcome to the switchboard. Today is our Memorial Day celebration 317. Michael will talk about that here in a minute. And we are actually in day 5 of an intensive, and I'm sitting here at a table with some lovely glowing people that we've just been doing some major processing, and we're sitting down to eat our first meal after 3 days of fasting. So everybody, I keep reminding them, eat slow, chew. So, Michael, welcome to the show. Michael?
Delighted, sweetie. Welcome, everybody. We're glad to be here to support you, and we are certainly glad to be here with this awesome group of folks that we're doing this intensive with. All sorts of sweet, wonderful, and some not-so-sweet and wonderful things opening up, which is exactly what our purpose is for working together and carrying out this work that we're doing together. When Jeanie mentions Memorial Day, the invitation is for us to honor those who've gone before us and been forced to engage in the insanity of war, and honor them by putting an end to war. Michael, how could you possibly put an end to war? Well, it's actually pretty simple. Not necessarily easy, but pretty simple. All you have to do is eliminate the cause of war. Well, Michael, what's the cause of war? It's simple. If I deny responsibility for what's going on inside of me, I'll find that you're the one to blame for my pain, for my turmoil. Even though I've been through my pain, my turmoil 87 different times with 42 different people, I can actually trick myself into believing that it's about you and that it's yours. And if I do that, then in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to find a way to make war on you, whether it's a verbal war, an emotional war, whether it's just I turn you away from you, or whether it's I take a gun and shoot you in the head, cancel us on. That's the cause of war. And so we're here to put an end to denial, to put an end to the dissociated mind, which is the mind that functions out of the belief that it couldn't possibly have anything to do with what's happening inside of it, that it must be everybody else's fault. So we're moving in the direction of understanding the dynamic of forgiveness. In the ancient Aramaic, the word forgive has nothing to do with letting you off the hook for what's happening inside of me. The word forgive is the tool I use to change what's happening inside of me. When you change the root of your hostility and fear, guess what? There's nobody to make war on because there's nobody left to blame. So here we are, our invitation. Pick up the worksheet, apply the tool of forgiveness, and start to remove your very capacity to function out of any form of hostility or fear. That's what we're here to support you in. If that sounds like some kind of a crazy conversation, well, come into the conversation with us. Try it out. Test it. I don't ask you to believe me. All I ask is put the pen to the paper, work with the tool, work with it sincerely, and your life will change, I promise you. If you are not familiar with the tool, go to our website, www.whyagain.com. On the right-hand side, there's a link that says Download Worksheets. Click that link. The first 7 links will give you the whole forgiveness story, including 4 or 5 now different sets of custom instructions to verbally walk you through the worksheet process. So we're delighted that you're here, and Dr. Tim with us today. David here. Mute button on, sweetie.
Yeah, I had to get my phone. I've got it sitting in the middle of the table so everybody that's sitting here eating can listen to the show. Nobody has their hand up. If you want to talk to Michael, press 1 on your phone. There's a bunch of people on the switchboard. We only have 2 people in the chat room, so it's running slow getting in the chat room today. So we don't have any questions yet unless somebody sitting around the table here has any comments. No? They're all eating. You're asking them to quit eating so that they can talk.
We've been fasting for 3 days. Do you think they're going to stop eating? Come on.
No, probably not.
But somebody might have something to share of what their insight is so far, what they're experiencing, and what's going on. And it would be kind of cool to hear somebody in the intensive if you have something to say. Is Dr. Tim there?
He is not.
Okay.
David's on. But...
David with us? And David, are you down at the dock, or where are you, David?
I'm not on the dock. No, I'm sitting out on the shoreline here, making sure that the feedback mechanism works. Jeannie's in the house. Some other people are here, so I'm sitting here on the shoreline. And
sitting on the dock of the bay.
Sitting on the dock of the bay. What a fabulous song that was. And it is.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible of what the group is processing and going through, and I can only express that with the work that they're doing here, the space that it's opening up for other people, and they're invited to come and to play and to experience the same things that what's going on here. Maybe after people have eaten a little bit with them, they might have some comments to say about it. Otherwise, then maybe there are some questions that they have, and they can give them to Jeanie, and we can answer them on the air.
Absolutely. So our call-in number is 646-200-4169. Our work together is forgiveness, not the Greek idea of, you did something really terrible that caused all this pain inside of me, but it's okay, I'll let you off the hook, I'll forgive you. But rather the Aramaic idea of if I'm in pain, if I'm in turmoil, if I'm in hostility, grief, loss, sadness, fear, pain, then there's a tool with which I can go inside myself and remove what never belonged. Who ever told us that forgiveness was about removing content from your mind? No. What did the world tell us? The world told us that forgiveness is about letting other people off the hook because that painful content is there, and that it's perfectly justifiable to blame that painful content on them. Well, my input is it's not justifiable to blame somebody else for the content of your mind, and it's time for us to grow up and become adults. It's time for us to be responsible and accountable for our own realities. And we define in this work reality as the output of the mind. Most people look at the output of the mind, and they think they're actually looking at what's happening in the world. My offering to you is when you look at the output of your mind, you're looking at the output of your mind. You're not looking at what's happening in the world. Your mind presents a good picture that pretends it's about and is what's actually going on out there. And there are enough reference points to keep you from bumping into the furniture. But what's going on in your mind is an image generated from within you, and it's all changeable. And out of the dynamics that you hold in your mind, you create and set up what happens in your world. If you don't like what's happening in your world, then you go inside and change it. And when you do, you've done the act of forgiveness. The worksheet is on our website, whyagain.com, whyagain.com. Right-hand side, download worksheets. Please go there, pick it up, start to use it. If you and I were sitting in a room together and we were having this conversation and something popped up for you, what would your question be? We invite you to pick up the phone and call us at 646-200-4169. And or, if you're in the chat room, type it in. Jeanie will share your question with us. We're here absolutely 1,000% to support you. Go ahead, sweetie.
I was just going to say, if listeners hit a refresh or something, all of a sudden everybody has vanished out of the chat room. So maybe hit a refresh on your computer. I don't know if there's an issue there, but we do have a caller, and I'm not sure, but I think this might be Nene. I haven't memorized everybody's phone numbers yet. Is that you, Nene?
Yes, hello, my heart family.
Hey, welcome, Nene. Glad to hear from you. How do you be?
Thank you. Well, I'm calling in to to get support. And, of course, what I had to say has to do with what you're already saying, of course, which is about dismantling the unconscious mind. And last week when I did my mind shifter about self-love, I was able to liberate the idea of insignificance. So that was very powerful. But then other things were triggered, and they all related to that. So I figured out, okay, so that belief of being insignificant, I guess, created a lot of situations where I have to prove that I was insignificant, right?
So you're working through, am I understanding correctly that you're working through the reality that somehow you have to prove it?
Yeah, because I attract situations in my life where the other people are more important. People leave me because they have other things. Everything is more important. So it's like I play out being insignificant. So I realize that.
So the question I would be asking myself at this stage in my process would be to research how much of that is projection. So have you ever left somebody behind because you felt like something else was more important?
Yes, I have, yeah.
So that would be the first place to start doing worksheets, is around, who did you leave? Where did you leave them? What was that about? What were your feelings? What were your thoughts? How did you justify that? And as you start to see through that and collapse those rationalizations, and start to see that you didn't do those things because they were insignificant or not important. You did those things because your mind said this is what you have to do. And as you start to break through that, then you'll see that you leaving somebody behind didn't mean they were insignificant, and that will give you a leg up on starting to see that when somebody leaves, somebody does what they do. It isn't about you. It doesn't mean you're something. That's a reality in your mind that comes from your own projection.
Yes, because I realized in reading the mind shifter and all that for me many times things that I've done, I label them as insignificant. So I also, as you say, that's my part, of the.
So you do this to yourself?
Yeah.
So are the worksheets that you're doing on your judgments about yourself being insignificant?
Well, that will be the next one. It's just that in the mind shifter, a lot of things came up about that, where I put either myself last or the things that I do, I think that people do it better, and, I label them as insignificant.
Sounds like you've got your 77 times 70 worksheets laid out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've been very aware, and this I discovered during the intensive last year, is about the energy of a great fear about a physical abuse or physical. And I remember liberating or being aware of that, being conscious during the intensive. And there's still some of that because in some instances, I've been very fearful when people scream or there is a big noise or something. I identified that there is a terror inside of me, and it's coming out right now about that. And then I remember in my family, one of my sisters was beaten by the husband, and she had to go to the hospital. And that memory just came today to my mind.
So what did you feel when were you there? Did you see this happen, or did you just hear about it?
No, I heard about it. But I know that I remember seeing my father beating my little brother, I remember that, and I remember that in many instances, I've been able to jump into somebody, and that situation. Oh, big breath.
Good breath. Good breath. So what's happening? What are you feeling?
Well, I'm dizzy. Some tears.
So dizzy? Is the body starting to break loose its toxicity? It's into the bloodstream, hits the brain, and right on track. You're right on. That's awesome. Good for you.
Thanks. Yeah.
What's the feeling that's going on right now?
Sadness, loss.
I invite you to just breathe into that grief.
Oh, wow.
Can you touch in? Can you put your awareness on what the grief and loss is about right now?
It's about people. It has to be with a male figure. I don't know whether it's something of the past, but it has to be with the father. It has to be with the male figure, the father.
And how many times in your world do you suppose, and how many generations has been going on that women were treated by insignificant as the men, and therefore the women took on that role or took on that energy and felt the grief and loss of their human beingness?
Yes.
So I support you in reclaiming your human beingness and letting go for all of the women of your culture and all of the women of the world the belief that you're insignificant, and to tap into the presence of your true human beingness that you courageously can bring forward into the world, and open a window for all women to come forward and bring their beingness forward. And at the same time to open the space for men who have lost their beingness to their macho, to their bullying, to their tough guy, to their, I don't feel, that you also open the space for men who have lost their beingness but cover it up with rage and hostility and these displays, these childish displays of strength. And to recognize that we all function as one being connected literally to the love of God, and that as we connect, that in our beingness is the most significant being in the creation, and that's you. And as each person is able to focus, to recognize the most significant being in the creation is themselves, and that they can recognize each other being as the most significant being along with them. Well, Michael, how can you have all those mosts? Yeah, it's crazy. But the truth is, if you listen to Einstein says, if you think you're separate or separated from the rest of humanity, you're living in an optical delusion. And we've been convinced as human beings, and our definition, you know it very well, but for those that are listening to the show, our definition of human life is hold a newborn child. And so to reclaim that newbornness is the most awesome gift that you can give the planet, to open that space for every being on the planet to reclaim that awesome, true being, love that they are. So what's happening for you? Are you breathing?
I'm breathing, yes. And a little bit of, again, another headache, like another thing. But I feel a lot better, a lot better. Yes.
So am I understanding you to say that you're getting a headache?
Yeah. All of a sudden, again, it's like it came back like a pressure in my head on both sides. Mm-hmm. But I feel more calm.
So it sounds like you're right in the middle of the detoxification process.
Yes. Yeah. Oof. Little sweaty, but it's okay. Okay.
Jeanie, is Dr. Catherine there? Jeanie, is your mute button on? Is Dr. Catherine there? Hello, Jeanie. Your mute must be on. Okay, I guess she's not there. So are you still there, Nene?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, good.
Yes.
I don't know. We lost Jeanie, it seems.
Okay. And, well, I thanks so much. And I sent Jeanie the schedule. This coming Wednesday, tomorrow, I'm having the 5 Smooth Stones, the support group in Spanish.
Awesome. And where's that going to be?
It's going to be in Coral Springs at Maria and Hugo Torres' house. The email, I sent it to Jeanie with the address. And then Friday night in English, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? Sponsored by Gus Barney.
And where's that going to be?
And it's going to be in Pompano Beach in his office, in the conference room, which is very nice. So I also sent Jeanie the address for that.
Awesome.
And then Saturday, the whole day, Mind Shifters spent in Spanish.
Mind Shifters and Still Point Breathing?
Yes, and Still Point Breathing in Spanish the whole day, also in Coral Springs. And I can leave my phone number if people are more interested. 954 607 9539, and people want more information, they can go to the website or call me.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we hold the space of support and acknowledge you for keep reaching out and opening the next layer and the next level of your healing process. And thank you for having the courage to share it with us, because everybody that listens to the show gets a sense of what this process looks like, and I think that contributes to the willingness for everyone.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, definitely.
Hi there.
All right. Have a blessed day, and we'll look forward to seeing you when we get down there in a few weeks.
Yes. Hugs. Bye-bye.
Okay, blessings. Take care. Bye-bye. Jeanie,
Michael,
did we find you again?
Yeah, I was on here, but Catherine said no, she didn't want on the radio show. She's sitting here eating, and then all of a sudden it would not let me go on. I was pushing the button, and it would not turn on. And I looked at her, and I said, you made it do that, didn't you? So anyway, the system, I had to shut down.
I was just thinking that Dr. Catherine might guide Nene through the tapping process to clear that headache energy.
Oh, he said explain the tapping process to get rid of a headache. The young lady he was just speaking to had a headache. Oh, she said she doesn't know that you could do it just over the phone. Okay. We hold the space. Nobody has their hand up. 646-200-4169. Press 1. That puts you in queue to talk to Michael. We'd love to hear from you, your comments, your questions. And Dr. Tim still isn't with us today, so he must be busy.
Awesome. Well, we're in Palm Coast, Florida, in the 5th day of a 9-day Why Is This Happening to Me Again intensive, and we will be starting a second 9-day intensive on Saturday. We're actually going to finish up here on Saturday morning, and Saturday evening start right into a second 9-day. We usually take a day off in between, but that would have pushed the next intensive out into the next week, so people that take time off of work wouldn't have been able to do it. So anyway, if there's anyone who is interested in taking your work to the next level, we're working on a space here where We might be able to expand the intensive. It's full, but we may be able to expand it to another couple of people. So if anybody's interested, get in touch with us. And otherwise, we'll be doing this. And, Jeanie, the schedule from here, we're going to go spend a week in Orlando, and then we're back in Jacksonville. Is that the next week, Jeanie?
We're in Orlando next week and Jacksonville the week after.
Jacksonville. So Jacksonville starts on the...
hold on, I'm opening it up. I didn't have that calendar open.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so we start in Jacksonville on Sunday, May the 6th.
Well, so anybody that's in the Jacksonville, Florida area, we'll be there starting on May the 6th. We'll do a week of workshops. There'll be 6 free workshops, and then we'll do a Mind Shifters and Still Point Breathing workshop on the 7th day, and all things rocking along and moving forward. So, and then we'll be heading back to Heartland. We'll begin our intensive season at Heartland. The 3rd week of July, we are talking with Ari about doing a food, fun, forgiveness, and work project, but he hasn't gotten back to us yet with confirmation on that. And I know, David, you were talking to him yesterday. Did you ever get a hold of Ari to find out whether that was confirmed or not?
No, I never was able to. Wasn't able to reach him yesterday. I'll give him a call after the show, see if I can reach him and put it out there.
Fabulous. So that's what's happening here and what's on our schedule, and we are delighted to be here to support you. And our call-in number is 646-200-4169. The thing that makes the show most exciting is questions. If you have a question for us, a thought, real-life issue, real-life question, something that living a life without any form of hostility or fear, if that doesn't make sense to you, then we'd love to help you make it make sense. So if you have a question or a comment about that, we'd love to hear it. So, Jeanie, do we have anything happening in the chat room? Anybody with a hand up?
No, everybody's just sitting there listening.
Everybody's being quiet today. Okay, well, if you and I were sitting face to face and we just presented what we're presenting, would you be asking questions? Would you say, well, what just happened with the name? What are you talking about? If so, we'd love to hear your question. And as we tap into that process, each person, there's no such thing as a silly question or an irrelevant question. If there's anything about what we're saying that doesn't make sense or that doesn't fit for you, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love to help to clarify precisely what it is that we're doing with this forgiveness process, this forgiveness tool from the ancient Aramaic, and support you in moving your life forward into the full aliveness of a true human life and living as that true human being 24/7, 365. And when I say true human being, if you're not sure what that means, just invite you to go hold a newborn child. I'd offer that the newborn child defines for us, I believe it gives us a standard and a definition of human life. And as such, if that newborn energy, if that live, awesome presence of love is not in you, then I offer the thing that destroys that human life, the thing that takes it away from you, is the hostility and fear that's been pounded into us generation after generation after generation. And it's time for us to let go of that and change that dynamic on the planet. And here's where we start. We start with supporting you in learning forgiveness and learning to go in and delete the things that never belonged in a human temple to begin with. What belongs in a human temple? Well, just think about the embodiment of a newborn child. And the world does its best to make sure that doesn't happen and pounds in the hostility, the fear, the grief, and the pain. And it's a generational thing. It's been going on for 1,000 generations. And it's time for us to get out of the desert, to get rid of the old generations, the old causes in us, and move forward in the awesome presence of a human life.
We have a caller.
Awesome. Go for it.
Area code 541. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Julie from Ashland, Oregon. Hi.
Hey there, young lady. How are you?
I'm I'm being brave to come on the phone because I was feeling just stuck and not wanting, I don't even know what my question is quite. I'm seeing if I can come up with it. But I'm in a relationship that I feel like I want to get out of. And I know what I'm wanting to get out of is just the feelings that come up because this person represents to me what I'm projecting from the evidence and contents of my mind. And but it's weird because they perceive me as, at least I feel this way, as not really being here. In fact, I'm told this quite often, that I'm not really here, and I feel like there's not really a relationship because it's just text, and he's out of the area geographically, and I'm thinking, well, what? This isn't even a relationship. And anyway, I look into my past, and when Nene was on, that whole thing about playing out my insignificance, when people leave, or maybe I'm the one that wants to leave first, I really resonated with that. And I'm judging myself to be insignificant in his life. Like he doesn't really need me, I'm not really there, and I get all this kind of layer of what I call BS, and but I can see how that was kind of going on with me with my parents. My father and mother divorced around my age of 12, and I started playing roles. I started playing a role of not wanting to rock anyone's boat, and especially my father's, because my mother initiated the divorce because she was in so much pain, and my father took the ticket out. And he, it's weird. And so I started being this sort of other female person in his life that was easier to be with. I didn't give him as much trouble. I wasn't in his face about things because I was the kid. And then that set up a dynamic of my mom, kind of resenting me or something, or I felt like I had to not be there. I was trying to not be there, causing her pain by being this substitute female for my father. There wasn't sexual things going on, but there was just energy. And so that's kind of the complexity of it. And now I'm with this man who is not there for me, and I'm trying to not be there because he's going through a huge health crisis, and I'm seeing myself as being, some dynamic in there. And so, but I really want to save myself. I can't save him, and I'm just tired of being in this sort of fixed, compartmentized relationship of my projections and his projections. And he's just keeping me away from him, even to the point of maybe dying. And I'm thinking, I'm not that bad. I don't want to be killing someone if they don't want to be with me, And I know I'm taking way too much responsibility here, too. I just need to care about myself enough to get connected to my newborn energy and my connection with God. And so I do that. I do a lot of worksheets. He's not doing worksheets. At least he shares nothing of what he's doing. And I'm just sort of at this place of it's kind of comfortable to be with him because everything's so familiar and I know what I'm looking at. But I know what I'm looking at regardless of whether I'm in a relationship or not, because it's my stuff to look at, and I know who I want to look at it with. Is Ruka Dakucha, and I can't share in a relationship with him. He doesn't participate in this way, And so I'm just ready to say, okay, if that's not it, then let's not do it, you know. So that's it. That's my circular stuff, my reasoning.
Right. So you need to interrupt the circle somehow.
Okay. Thank you.
So the first place I'd start would be to look at my power person dynamics. And if I looked at how this replicates my power person dynamics, you know, I'm there, but I'm not there. I'm not paid attention to. I'm not valuable. So I'd start working with some worksheets where I am the object of attention, I'm not value, or I devalue myself. Have you got a stack of worksheets there?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I'd start with my name and number 1A, and then I'm not valuable or valued. Then I'd go to a second worksheet. I go to a second worksheet, and I start with myself there, number 1A. Number 1B, I don't value myself.
Okay.
And the next worksheet I do would be on myself. And I want to leave.
Yeah.
How does it look like my life to want to leave? And notice that you've lived your whole life where your mind can produce output realities that say, I need to leave. And so as you start to collapse that as a reality, you might see all kinds of other options. Like you might see the option to open communication. You might see the option to see the pain and suffering, and this might be another worksheet for you to do if you looked at the pain and suffering of your parents and how you just wanted to get away from it. Your own pain and suffering, so maybe parents, and I want to get away from their pain and suffering. And, of course, with your own pain and suffering, when you take the geographic cure, you take it with you.
Yeah.
Because you weren't experiencing their pain and suffering, you were experiencing your own. Okay. And maybe this is going to be an opening for you to simply present yourself, to be present as this awesome active presence of love in your own life and in his life. Rather than, oh, well, my mind's telling me I need to leave, so I got to get out of here. And before you make that as a decision, start forgiving these realities where there's always a rationalization. The mind can always rationalize that I need to get out of here because of something somebody else is doing. And start collapsing down into the part of yourself that when things happen in your world, you have so much pain that you want to escape it. And start to delete this pain. And as you delete, that is, forgive this pain, you just might find yourself showing up in your own body as the active presence of love and displacing that pain. And coming into your life and into your world in a whole new fashion, in a whole new way.
Yeah. And, the trauma, the real key trauma thing is where everybody, all of a sudden, the whole family is disintegrating and everybody's leaving. Everybody wants out of here. You know, there's just so much pain, everybody wants out. So my courage needs to be directed towards facing my pain with regard to that situation. And
precisely, rather than just up and running away, because if you up and run away, you'll just take the pain with you, and I promise you'll find another reason to leave. Wherever you go next and next and next, the geographic view just doesn't work.
Yeah. But see, what I was doing is I know that, but I was just staying stuck and no action. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And notice how that looks like your life. I'm stuck. I can't take any action. So that would be another worksheet. I'm the object of attention. I'm stuck. I can't take any action. I'm immobilized. And that's what fear does. It immobilizes us. And as you start to show up as the awesome presence of love in your own body, there are all kinds of options. You might still say, this relationship doesn't work. It's not working for him. It's not working for me. So it's time to move on. Or you might see, outside of your own 9-bit mind 1,000 possibilities in the relationship. 1,000 things that you could do to empower him, to empower yourself, and to live a life of delight together.
Yeah.
But as long as you're in the space of, remember the words that create a dissociated mind are the words, you made me. And in essence, the bottom line of your story is, he makes me. And that means now I'm generating something, these feelings that have me feeling like I need to escape and thinking that I need to leave. I'm generating this, but I'm placing the cause of it outside of me, which means that now I'm dissociated from that cause, and I all of a sudden can't change it.
Yeah.
And so I think you might find that these worksheets will assist you in changing those dynamics.
There's another element that just came up that I know comes up all the time too is competitiveness. I think it's a solution I came up with as to how to deal with all that we've already just talked about. And so I get really competitive with anyone who, and that must be a form of hostility. I'm getting that right now, of just anyone who I think has it better than me or knows it better than me, and they aren't sharing it with me, or, I just get competitive. I'm not sure. I see their flaws. I know that I had to listen to mother, father, back and forth, who's right, who's wrong. And so maybe I picked up some competitive behavior that really isn't mine. Maybe that's it.
And
anyway, thank you. I was stuck.
Perhaps that competitiveness is really your effort to control. Well, if I were the top dog, I'd be in control. Nobody could get near this pain. So there would be another worksheet on my need to be the top dog, my need to be in control. And one of the things that happens, especially with people who have a power person that uses them as a screen upon which to project, the adult's own pain on the child, is the child grows up having had that modeled for them, and they tend to then become the users, use others as a screen upon which to put their pain. That's one of the pseudo-solutions to the non-being mind. Well, if I put all my pain into my brain's image of you, then I can pretend I don't have any. It's you that are the problem in my life, and so now all I have to do is leave, and then everything will be okay because, you see, you're the one that has all the pain. But the truth is, if I'm in pain, I'm the one who has the pain. And so if my power person used me as a screen upon which to project their pain, I'll tend to use the people I'm in relationship with as a screen upon which to project my pain. So that would be a worksheet on using people.
Yeah. Yeah, and therefore I've never really felt the fullness of a relationship or something. Something's always been missing because I've seen it as roles that I'm playing rather than...
Now, guess what's missing? Guess what's missing?
I don't know.
You are. Your true being is what's missing.
Yeah.
There's a great line from the Course in Miracles that says, only what you have not given is missing here.
Yeah. Okay. You gave me a lot, and I took notes, so thank you. I'm going to work on it.
There's work to be done. We are here absolutely to support you, and that's the kind of muddle that most human lives are in until we start to clean out the garbage. It just seems like such a cycle, and there's so much trauma in it that it's just kind of unconsciousness. And so that's our job, and that's what we're delighted to be here to support you in getting clear on. Some of the areas to start to chip this non-being self away and to move back to the state of your awesome being, that pure, true, eternal love that you are. And we're here to support you.
Thank you. My mother died about 20 years ago. My father's still alive, and I've been wondering about starting a conversation with him about his experience of the divorce, and I'm thinking of how to do it responsibly. We don't have anger, but there's a lot of shallowness, which is probably, covering. And yet he's led a fairly happy life. I don't know how happy, but he's not sick. There's nothing going on in his body that's showing up as something suppressed. So I want to ask him about, does he have some sort of a forgiveness process, and what was his experience? Does that sound responsible? It's scary to go open that up with him because I don't know how to approach it quite, but I'm doing it.
Well, you're opening the unknown.
I want to learn. What?
Yeah, you're opening the unknown, so that's likely to bring fear up. It isn't scary, but it will definitely bring fear up, and that fear will be your next worksheet. So maybe some worksheets around Dad, and I'm afraid to ask him what the divorce was like. And so clear out the part of your mind that holds that fear about asking him. And, it might be one of the awesome gifts you've ever given him. I know I worked with a woman several years ago in South Florida when I had a private practice down there. And this woman had two parents that were in their 90s. They were both alive, and the father was getting ready to die. But in the family system, the word death was simply not allowed. Nobody was allowed to use the word. Nobody was allowed to refer to his impending death. She did some major work in a couple of sessions around that issue. Finally went home and brought up the conversation that, Dad was dying and he's leaving. And there was just, this big emotional explosion in the household. And she just stayed the course and held the space. And on the other side of it, this woman was 65 when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And at 65, for the first time in her life, as a result of staying the course with that conversation, holding the space of love and moving through it, she heard the words from her father, "I love you," for the first time in 65 years. And when her father did, just a few months later, pass, she was there with her two children and her mother, each of them holding hands around the bed. And she said it was one of the most powerful family events that ever happened, and one of the most wonderful events when her father died. That it was just such a loving, awesome experience for the whole family. And what she said was that as a result of that, after he passed, she had a better relationship with him than she ever had with him when he was alive. The relationship carried on. She'd made a link on a soul level with him that went beyond all the persona stuff, all the, father, daughter, and got into real personhood and real relationship with her father instead of playing a role of a daughter. And it totally changed their relationship and led her to a space where she shared with me that the relationship was better with him after he died than when he was alive. So I'd support you opening. It sounds like you're being prompted appropriately to open that conversation with him. And who knows what gift. Maybe there's some stuff in there that's just itching to roll out for him to process and get rid of that he won't need to carry around any farther. And so you may just find yourself giving him this most precious gift in that conversation. But I do some worksheets around your fear of doing it first so that you can go into that conversation without fear.
Yeah, and so many years have gone by, and instead of the story, it's like I want to get to the real, the truth and the being, not the non-being, So I guess I am going to try this. I'm going to create the opportunity and ask him to join me in the opportunity.
Very cool. Well, please keep us posted. It'd be sweet to hear the results of it, and know that we'll be there to support you through it. In fact, if you want to let us know when you're going to be doing it, we'll make sure to be tapped in on an energetic level and just hold the space.
Yeah, thank you. I will at that time, and I am planning a visit the last week of April, so it's
cool.
coming up, and seems like there's a greater purpose to it than originally seen. So thank you. Wow, that really got me. I'm glad I had the courage to come out of my comfortable stuckness.
Well, I followed you for that. You know, I've watched you from the first time we connected with you, and I've watched you just take leap after leap after layer after leap to do that. And thank you for doing it. I suspect you probably opened a space for more than just yourself.
Yeah. And then they opened for me today, and everybody opens it. We're just so opening. It's amazing. It's amazing. We're really getting where we're going. And thank you, Mike.
That's it. That's the plan. All right. We appreciate you having you on the team. By the way, the support groups out there in Medford.
Yeah.
When are they happening? Let's just kind of make the announcement. If there's anybody in Medford that might want to participate, or
we'll be meeting.
Ashland?
Yeah, next week is one of our meetings. We meet the first and third weeks, and Mondays and Tuesdays. So Mondays is Ashland from 4 to 6 p.m., and Tuesdays is from 7 to 9 in Medford at the Christ Unity Church at 560 North Holly Street. And the one in Ashland is at a woman's home, so I probably won't give that over the air, but people can call me if they want.
Okay, and your number is?
My number is 541-261-7949. We'd love to have more people in both of those groups.
Awesome. Yes.
I would love it.
Are you completely finished with the property in California now? Is that gone, or you're there full time?
I got that sold, so I'm in Ashland now, full time.
Awesome. Very cool.
Good. Yeah. I'm really interested in attending your work and fun and food. A couple of weeks, I guess the end of June or so is when you're maybe planning it. Is that kind of correct? I know it's not firm yet, but
we'll keep you posted on it. We'll be announcing it on the show. We haven't confirmed.
Okay. But is that the general time frame, just so I'm aiming for?
I think the dates that we've talked about so far are the 2 weeks before the 20th of July.
Yeah. Oh, it's July.
Jean might have that in front of her. If you go to the website, if you go to whyagain.com, look under intensive schedules, and it's on the intensive schedule there.
Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you.
Right now it's for July the 8th through the 21st. And we have just a few minutes left, and we do have a question in the chat room, and we have a caller on hold.
Okay. Let's go for it. Julie, thanks for your call. Blessings. We love you.
Yes,
thank you. Okay, the question in the chat room, it's actually from Mitzi, and you walked her through doing the exercise yesterday, and she said that it was very helpful, that she feels more balanced emotionally. What part of the brain did we access in doing that exercise? And could you discuss a little further the how and why the technique is so effective?
Well, you're in charge of your energy field, and what I've been guided to call the place where you're locating with the two pencils is the seat of the unconscious. And everybody who didn't catch that show yesterday, it's in the archives. You can go through it and listen to what we did. We actually went through a guided exercise for cutting the strings, cutting attachments that keep people in emotional patterns. And so the seat of the unconscious, I don't know what anybody else would call it, but it's a place where if you're centered there, you can literally remove the attachments that keep you stuck in emotional cycles with people. And it's a very powerful way to change emotionalized dynamics in relationships. And so that would be how I would explain it. So you've got a caller, sweetie?
Mm-hmm. We do have a caller, and it's area code 970. You're on the air. Who do we have?
Hey, Michael and Jeanie, it's Carrie in Colorado.
Hi, Carrie. Welcome.
Thanks. I just wanted to say thank you to Julie. I feel like I've got this soul sister out there. I just I'm not even able to tell you. I've been standing here just sobbing listening to her and realizing how many similar, issues. I think I've always been really kind of inwardly competitive, and just hearing that explanation of how that dynamic can come up because of an overpowering parent or power person, and then it gives you the feeling that somehow you can survive that. And anyway, just really wanted to share that I'm kind of getting a lot of things activated just by listening to her, and it was really neat. And just to say thank you, and some good worksheet material. And I've also got some really good friends out in the Ashland area. I didn't realize she was doing a group out there, but I think a couple of them might be really interested in her group. So I jotted her phone number down, and I'll give her a call on that. So anyway, I wanted to share that powerful energy moving,
Yeah, I'm sure that she'll be delighted to hear from you and have a chat. You might even create yourselves as worksheet partners. And we've several times we've gone round robin on, committing to do X number of worksheets. And perhaps if you two enter in a conversation, maybe you could be of support with each other on that. I know that you've picked up Carrie and you've trooped forward and you've been doing lots of worksheets and really delving in. And Julie has done that from time to time, and then kind of, I love Paul Simon's description of the process, slip sliding away. So maybe you guys could kind of connect with each other and be support in that regard. That would be cool.
Yeah, it's nice to have support on the path. I mean, it always, I think, is encouraging and inspiring to keep on going when you've got somebody sort of.
Nothing like a little help from our friends.
That's really true. All right, well, listen, you guys have an awesome time down there at the intensive, and I sent Jeanie a really neat link. It's just a 2-minute YouTube video that some of my friends were sending out this morning. A man in Israel reading a message that he wrote to Iraq and saying, "I don't want to bomb you. I have nothing against you." Really nice, and he just saying, "I love you," basically.
Time for people to come forward and start to do that. If people lead, the leaders, the so-called leaders, will follow. The people that are profiting from keeping people at war will have to stop when people step up and say, "Enough already. This is not my enemy. This is another cell in my own body. This is another human being. What are we doing?" We need more people in this country and every country on the planet to step up and put a stop to this money-mongering over death that happens on planet Earth. It's time for us to change that dynamic. And the way we're going to do that is by each today being responsible. What hostilities and fears do we have? And what are we willing to own and undo? What are we willing to own and forgive? So thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks,
all
Michael.
Right,
I'm going to hang up, but have a wonderful, wonderful continuing experience and really appreciate everything you guys are doing.
All right, it's in the plan. We're rocking along. Big stuff. So we're down to about the last 60 seconds or so, and we'll just invite you to jump on the website, whyagain.com, and on the right-hand side there's a link that says download worksheets. Download those worksheets, put the pen to the paper. Watch what happens. It's absolutely amazing. It always boggles my mind as to how it supports people in drilling down into parts of their minds that they didn't even know were there. And it's just something that's not been done for most of us in 1,000 generations. It changes everything, and it leads to you being empowered to create the best year yet of your eternal life. Blessings, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bring a stranger to the show tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Mind Shifters Radio with the Forgiveness Doctor, Dr. Michael Ryce, and his wife, Jeanie, who present that internal Aramaic process of forgiveness. Michael and Jeanie are here every Monday through Friday on Earth Angels Radio. For more on Michael and Jeanie, please visit www.whyagain.com. That's www.whyagain.com.